have a rototiller here. It's called an earthquake. What has happened? It's locked up. I'm going to have to take it apart. So what I'll do right now is go ahead, take those two nuts off and remove the exhaust. Now I'll go ahead, take this off. I'm going to go ahead and remove the spark plug. I just want to get all this stuff out of my way for when I take that head off. I want to see what the piston's going to look like. I might be able to break it loose. I don't know yet. Now I'll come to the front of the tiller. I'm going to remove those two nuts right there that's holding on the carburetor. And now you have a hose back here that goes into your overhead valve. Make sure your gas line is turned off. Make sure your choke is on. You should be able to pull this out, but you got to unhook this hose back here behind the filter. Right here, you got to disconnect that hose from either there or from here. Once you get this hose right here off of the air box, come right up here to the top, and you'll take this, just push it up. This here is an air vent for the gas tank. It is also connected to this box. Now go ahead and pull this straight out. And here's where the air vent is connected right here. Just move this up on top out of the way. You should be alright. Now I'll go ahead and remove the carburetor. First I got to remove the linkages and tie up the gas line, because it's already ready to come off. As you can see, I took these hemostats and crimped the gas line so that it wouldn't leak. Now I'll go ahead and I'll take these linkages off. Pull this out, pull that up, carburetor comes right on off. Now I'm going to have to take this plate right here off because it's connected to the head. I got a bolt right here I got to take off, and I also have a bolt right here that's got to be removed. I'll go ahead and lift this off. After I remove this spring right here, there's another spring right there. Take my needle nose pliers. Remember where this goes. Just lay it down there. There we have that. I'm going to take the valve cover off. I'm going to remove all 4 of these bolts. They are 8mm bolts. I'll go ahead and remove the cover. Should pop right off. Be careful, you may be able to use the same gasket, which I believe I will be able to if I can get this thing working. Put this out of the way. Now I'll go ahead and take this cover right here off. There's a bolt here and there's a bolt down here. Okay, if you go down underneath here, there's one more bolt to this little cover thing. That's right here. Now with all 3 little bolts out, I can remove this heat shield. And what I want to do is I want to take this recoil off. Even though you can't, it's locked up, I want to pull this off and make sure that I can't turn that crank. I'll put a socket and ratchet on it just to make sure that it will not budge. First I got to take 3 bolts out. Here, here, and there's one in the bottom. The nut inside here takes a 3/4 inch socket. I don't know what the metric conversion is, but since I have a 3/4 inch socket that fits, it won't budge that way. It won't budge that way, so this thing's locked up pretty tight. I'm going to take and break these 2 little 10mm bolts loose. Before I do, I got to get a 14mm wrench, put back behind here to hold this while I break it loose. That way I can get my rods out of there first before I take the head off. Okay, now that rod looks good. That rod looks good. Okay, now I'll go ahead and take these 2 bolts out and the 2 bolts that are inside here. Now this head should move this out of the way. There's our coil wire. This head should come right off. Move our gas line out of there. Okay. So here's the piston. Looks like it's froze, it don't want to move. Okay, what I'm about to do here, I've done in the past, and it's worked. I'm not saying it'll work with this one, but yeah, you don't know until you try. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put a rubber hammer here. I'm going to hit it with another hammer and try and get this to break loose. Might be beating on it a while, but we'll see what happens. Okay, what I did was I got a bigger hammer. I used my rubber mallet hammer, stuck it on there, and kept beating it. It broke loose. Now I can put a ratchet and socket on it and turn it. Moving pretty good. I put some PB Blaster in there, and I'm going to put some more in there because I want that to be lubricated pretty good. And I'm going to put it back together. Okay, the head's on, torque down. I'm going to go ahead and put the rods back in. Okay, we got our 2 rods in. We got our valves set. I'm going to go ahead and put this back on. Put the bolts in it. Takes 3 bolts. When putting this shroud on, make sure that you got it up underneath this lip right here, or else you'll never get it on. It goes behind this cover. Now that we got it set up right underneath this lip, I can go ahead and bolt it down. Now I'll go ahead and put the valve cover and gasket on. Now I'll go ahead and put the recoil back on it. Now I'll turn it back around and put this plate back on it. Make sure that your plug wire is in this hole. Your gas line is in this little slot here. So don't forget to hook your spring up. It goes right here. And now I can go ahead and bolt that up. Okay, make sure that this little wire here is on there because that is for your vacuum hose. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the carburetor back on. Go ahead and put it on the rod there, slide it in just far enough where you can get your linkage on. Pop your linkage on. Now take and put your spring into this hole right here. Get a hold of this wire. Seems like these are magnetic for some reason. Okay, get it on there. Now what we want to do is we want to slide it up there, and I'm going to go ahead and put this gas line on as I'm sliding it up. Clamp it there. Push it right on. Now I'll go ahead and take my pliers and put this on up in there. Okay. Got that set. Okay, my linkages and everything's hooked up. Now go ahead and put your spacer on there. It goes on just before the air box. Put it on there like that. Make sure you hook the hose back up to the gas tank for ventilation. You can actually put this air vent for the valve on as you're pushing this air box back on. It makes it a lot easier. Now I'll go ahead, put the nuts on here, tighten it down. Now coming back around to this side, I'm going to go ahead and put the spark plug back in. Put the plug wire back on. Now I'm going to go ahead, put the exhaust on, and I'm going to bolt it down. And now I'll go ahead, I'll check the oil and start it up. I'll turn the gas on. I'm going to choke it. Turn the kill switch on. It'll start. At least we know it cranks. Throttle it up. Comment, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching.